So there's a Latvian politician who's heading up an anti-Russian movement. Now, being anti-Putin is good, but being anti-Russian is actually being pro-Putin, especially in this case. And I'll show you how. Putin is, of course, himself anti-Russian because he's anti-humanity and Russians are humans, and he's making everything worse for everybody, including Russians. But in Latvia, he has an agent who is promoting an anti-Russian movement or agenda in Latvia, and I heard about this on the radio. This agent is saying that Russian-speaking people in Latvia need to take a test to prove their loyalty, and a language test, and making claims like, well, if someone's been in this country for 3 decades, they should be speaking Latvian by now, not Russian. Now, here in America, we have plenty of immigrants who've been here for many decades and don't speak English, and we have Spanish-speaking options and certain accommodations, not really enough accommodations. But the real point here is that only nationalists, evil nationalists, insist on a national language and insist on everyone speaking it. We had some proto-Trumpers here in Colorado trying to make English the only official language in Colorado because they were proto-Trumpers, because they're the Klansmen of the past before they all became Trump-Putineers. And this guy is a Trump-Putineer because not only is he saying that Russian-speaking people in Latvia should have to take these tests, but when asked, well, what if Putin wants to invade you for oppressing Russian people? His response is, bring it on. Now, he's not going to fight off Putin. He's going to be begging the West for military supplies. He's begging to be like Ukraine. He's begging Putin to genocide him like Putin is genociding Ukraine. And that's not an actual pro-Latvian thing to do. But if Putin hires an agent to go into their country and say it's pro-Latvian, just like Putin hired an agent, Trump, to come into America and say it's pro-America when he's actually trying to destroy America. And Trump is always, whining about what he calls hostages for J6, meaning if you try to overthrow America for him and you get any consequences, he's going to whine about it. That's not suggesting that we're oppressing Russian-speaking people in America, but suggesting that we're oppressing his people, and that's why Putin needs to invade or whatever. Well, that's what the guy's doing in Latvia, saying that because they're going to oppress Russian-speaking people, inviting Putin to invade them. And so he's obviously a Russian agent. Now, the BBC or NPR, whatever news agency, which is way too lenient and tolerant and accepting and normalizing of Putin's agents, including Trump, even says, does this play into Putin's hands? If you repress the Russian population, does it give Putin an excuse to invade your country? Like that's just a coincidence. Like that's something that just happened to work out that way. No, if there's a way for Putin to invade your country and create a situation where it's claims to be justified, he'll do it. That's what he does. He sends agents into other countries to ruin things in order to be the savior. Look at how the Wagner Group presented itself in all the coups in Africa, and how their social media trolls lie about stuff there to say, well, the colonizers are the evil ones, so trust us, the Russians, or Putin. Again, it's nothing against the Russians, but it is against Putin, and it would be helpful to Russian-speaking populations everywhere to show that they're protected, to show that Putin doesn't have any legitimate complaint. But in order to do that, you have to protect them from Putin's agents, such as this Latvian politician or Putin's agents here in America. We have to stop Trump. We have to put Putin's puppy in the pound if we're going to protect America. The fastest way to stop the Ukraine war would just be to go ahead and lock up Trump and show Putin that you mean business, because we're taking down his main agents. Identifying these people as agents shouldn't be that hard. It's not ironic, because they're Nazis as well, so their accusations are confessions. It's not ironic that their tactics of trying to get people to claim loyalty should probably just be applied to them. And you just, follow the ruble trail, honestly, and see, how much Putin had to pay them to turn on their country and their fellow countrymen and the Russian-speaking people to actively oppress them in order to give Putin an excuse. It seems so obvious at what they're doing, and something we need to look at from everything from other agents that Putin has around to agents he has in different industries besides politics. He's creating situations, and I know the FBI in America did this too. They hired terrible people to infiltrate, say, feminism and make it look terrible, because that's what they do. They hire terrible people to infiltrate Black Lives Matter movement and try to make it violent to give them an excuse, because that's what they do. That's their game plan. But we need to call all these people out, throw them all out, overthrow and undo or rework these institutions so that we don't have anybody doing this, playing on other people's sufferings, causing other people's sufferings in order for an excuse to cause even greater suffering. It's the Putin plan every single time. We see it everywhere, and we can stop it everywhere. If we stop Putin, let's do it. Thanks. It just means spreading the truth, resisting evil, resisting lies, and calling it out where we see it, including this guy in Latvia. NPR or BBC did a kind of good job by suggesting this, but you could go ahead and pursue the idea. Is this guy a Putin agent trying to be anti-Putin or anti-Russian in order to give Putin another invasion? Well, we need to stop him.